Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
Luckily, joining us to discuss is Hewlett-Packard Enterprise CEO Antonio Neri. I look at HPE and the stock performance, and you're not getting the credit that Dell is or Supermicro. I see Jensen Huang pat Michael Dell on the back and say, if you need a scalable server solution, you phone Michael Dell. But your margins are better. Are you finally starting to get some credit for the role you're playing in the AI infrastructure build-out?
Well, good morning, Ed and Caroline. Great to be here with you today. I completely agree with you that HPE is not getting the due credit for the potential of what we do for AI and the results we have been delivering, including this past quarter. So when we think about our quarters, number one, we beat revenue and we beat EPS, non-GAAP EPS, and that was all driven by the AI system revenue conversion. To your point, Caroline made, almost $1 billion. We exceeded $900 million. And we have a terrific pipeline, which is multiples of the current backlog. And now we start seeing the uptick in enterprise, which obviously HPE has a significant presence. But the reality is that we have unique capabilities. When I think about the capabilities HPE has in this particular inflection point, AI, number one, we know how to run AI at scale. We have done it for decades. It has been more than a supercomputer now in generative AI. And that comes on the back of our unique expertise in IP, intellectual property. So we know how to build these systems, how to cool it. And then we have a unique manufacturing footprint for water cooling. As we think about the next generation of silicon, we require 100% of liquid cooling. And HPE is one of those companies that can do it all. And then last but not least is the services piece. And when you talk about profitability of AI, we think about as a complete pull-through. It's not just the infrastructure side, it's also the services side. And we had a very solid margin performance in our AI systems, which is part of the server segment, where we deliver 18% growth year over year, and we deliver an 11% operating profit. In the guidance, we provide 11 to 13%.
Your CFO talking about prudent cost discipline. Is that what helps with the margin as well, Antonio? Because, look, let's call out JP Morgan, the analysts over there this morning, saying the results in the outlook echoed a similar AI server story of revenue with limited margins. They're not hearing you on the fact that you've got stronger margins.
I think it's a combination of three unique things, Caroline. Number one is prudent business discipline. We have been on that journey for a long time. We pursue deals that we can add value, that we see path to profitability, and that we can drive pull-through. That's number one. Number two is our complete portfolio. And so one of the key areas that I think the market doesn't understand is that we don't just ship servers. We actually ship the server, we install it, and in many cases, we run it as a part of our HPE GreenLake platform. And that includes an enormous amount of services. That's why you see HPE GreenLake also growing rapidly. And the fastest growing area of HPE GreenLake this past quarter, which grew 39% year over year, is actually AI. And last but not least is our ongoing brutal management of cost across the company. And also we are now deploying AI in our own company.
That's interesting. So you're deploying within your company, generative AI, I'm sure, but who's coming to you? Who are the clients? Because I'm actually surprised that where else have you been focusing if it's not enterprise?
Well, I think about AI in three unique segments. Number one, obviously, is what I call the model builders. These are the people who are building the models and need an enormous amount of accelerated compute to train the models, from hundreds of billions of parameters to now obviously 1 trillion plus parameters. And in that, we also mentioned yesterday that Microsoft is extending the Azure AI cloud to HPE infrastructure and to serve the clients. And one of the clients just happened to be OpenAI. So that's a great example of it. But there's also other service providers like Scalewell in France and many others we support. That's one segment. And obviously that's where a lot of the demand has been. The second segment, which is growing now, is actually sovereign cloud. And the third is enterprise.
Antonio, there is an interesting tension happening in your industry and with your partners. Lisa Su and AMD and Jensen and NVIDIA principally have the GPUs and CPUs, right? But they want to be systems vendors. And so in the context of a server, there's not a lot left over after that. But they don't have the experience in the sales channels that you guys operate in. Businesses big and small, enterprise. How are you able to convince your investors that you can all grow together when you know that the biggest partners on the tech side want to do more stuff themselves?
Yeah, and we have obviously decades of experience in doing so. I think it's multiple things. Number one, obviously, we work with them to make sure their IP with our IP deliver a better experience and a better performance. And so we co-engineer a lot of things. And you're going to see here with NVIDIA, in particular at HP Discover in Las Vegas, an enormous amount of innovation we're bringing to the market. So I hope you can join us and take a look at that. But also with AMD, obviously, we have long-standing relationship. In fact, some of the large supercomputers with the Department of Energy has been built together with AMD. What we will bring is the infrastructure expertise. So it's not just the silicon built in a server, and you and I were chatting before the call. It's actually about the whole infrastructure. And in that, now we have unique IP when it comes down to air-cooled, mixed cooling, and direct liquid cooling. That's very hard to do. Second piece, you need the manufacturing capability to do so. HP today has one of the largest water-cooled manufacturing footprint in the world.
Okay.
And as you follow the roadmap, that will be necessary. And last but not least, obviously, is the services piece, because this system requires a lot of maintenance and a lot of kind of TLC, if you will, and HP knows how to do that at scale.
So Antonio, Jensen Huang will be on stage with you and he'll give you a public endorsement. Is that right?
No, I think what's going to happen is Jensen and I are super excited to announce solutions together that will advance the adoption of these amazing technologies. And obviously, that's where the two companies come together, but also doing it in a spectacular venue, which will be at the Sphere. And so the way we're going to showcase all that innovation is going to be very engaging and I think, the first of a kind.
Ed's been spending some time in Las Vegas, going again. Hewlett Packard Enterprise CEO Antonio Neri. It's great to have you with us today. Thanks for joining on the earnings.